You guys, this smells so good. I just keep sitting here and sniffing and sniffing. It's just such a beautiful vanilla. I just can't get enough. Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and today we are talking about the brand new YSL Black Opium Le Parfum. Now I know I'm probably in the minority, but I'm actually not a fan of the original Black Opium or any of the flankers thus far. So definitely stay tuned because I certainly have a lot of thoughts about this new flanker. So if you're excited to hear my thoughts and enjoy the video while you're watching, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and let's get started right now. Now you're probably wondering why I decided to pick up this flanker since I wasn't a fan of any of the other Black Opiums, and that's because with this flanker in particular, there are supposed to be 4 different vanilla accords that are supposed to take the lead. The main accords are vanilla, warm spicy, powdery, sweet, coffee, patchouli, and balsamic. Now what's really interesting is when I was on Fragrantica when this fragrance first released, they actually had the patchouli up higher. It was almost right underneath the vanilla if I'm remembering correctly. So I have noticed that they have since then moved the patchouli down, and I do agree with that, but we will get into that in just a minute. The top notes are green mandarin super essence sourced from Italy, pear, and cinnamon. Super essence sourced from Italy. Some of these descriptions are a little bit wild, but anyways, moving on. The mid notes are solar white florals, including jasmine sambac and orange blossom. Now, when I first heard that this fragrance had solar white florals in the description, wasn't really sure what to expect. Typically when I hear and sniff any sort of fragrances that have solar white florals in them, they typically give me an uplifting or even tropical vibe. That is not the case with this one. And the base notes are coffee, specifically espresso coffee accord, Indonesian patchouli, vanilla planfolio absolute from Madagascar, vanilla pod absolute from Madagascar, premium vanilla bourbon infusion, and vanilla Tahitensis SFE absolute. No idea what that is. So you just heard the 4 different vanilla accords that they decided to release in this flanker. So let's get into this fragrance. So let's backtrack just a minute here. As I mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of the original Black Opium fragrance. Now, I can certainly appreciate that fragrance. It does smell beautiful. But unfortunately, on my skin, it almost smells like I spilled black cold coffee. So just overall, wasn't a fan of how that coffee accord along with the licorice sat on my skin. So with this flanker, I noticed there was not supposed to be any licorice, and the coffee was supposed to be toned down and the vanilla amped up. Now many people are comparing this flanker to Kayali's Vanilla 28. Now I can understand where they're coming from, but I actually don't find many similarities other than they both have a vanilla note. So we'll get back to Vanilla 28 in just a minute here, but this fragrance opens up basically as a vanilla bomb. The 4 different types of vanilla certainly take the show all the way from the first spray all the way through the dry down. Now I find the vanillas that are in this new Le Parfum, they are so incredibly smooth. They're definitely sweet. I don't find it cloying. Some may, of course, depending on the preference, but this is one of the smoothest vanillas I have smelled in any designer fragrance. Now as far as the actual vanilla scent, it's almost more of a true vanilla extract, of course in combination with the other vanilla accords, but that's basically what my nose picks up. So it's more of a white sugar, whereas with Kayali Vanilla 28, that to me is more of a vanilla orchid accord mixed with brown sugar. So this one I get more of white sugar, Vanilla 28 is more of a brown sugar. Now don't get me wrong, I certainly love my Vanilla 28. Neither is better or worse, just different types of vanilla. Now I can pick up a bit of that pear note, but with Le Parfum, it's not quite as fruity as the original. So I find in the original Black Opium, you can definitely pick up more of that pear and orange notes, whereas in this one, I find the fruity pear and orange notes really take a back seat. I would also have to say the same is true with the cinnamon note. I don't think I would have been able to pick up cinnamon if I didn't first read it ahead of time, but overall I do think the actual note of cinnamon just kind of offers a bit of a warmth and spicy feel to this fragrance. Now I will say once this fragrance starts to dry down on the skin, the solar floral accords do start to come to the surface just a bit, Well, once again, even the florals, they are just sitting there in the background. So something else that really intrigued me about Le Parfum was that it didn't just have any florals, not just any white florals, but specifically solar florals. I say that 10 times fast. So just from what my nose is picking up, of course, everyone is different. I really think the main reason they decided to use these solar florals in this fragrance was to just offer a bit of roundness and just offer a hint of creaminess. Now, I wouldn't say this fragrance is super creamy. To my nose, it is definitely more balsamic. But of course, if there weren't any type of floral accords in this fragrance, it would just basically be a flat gourmand. Now, getting to the base and the dry down, this is the part I was definitely most nervous for because that's where we enter the coffee territory. So YSL didn't just use any plain coffee accord. No. They decided to use an espresso coffee accord. So not only is the coffee way toned down in this flanker, now yes, you can still pick up the coffee note, but to my nose, where in the original I got more of that kind of black cold coffee on my skin, with this one, I definitely get more of a warm espresso. Now, one thing I noticed is when this fragrance first hit Fragrantica, the patchouli was actually listed right under the first or second note, so it was way up there. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I am not a huge fan of patchouli, but I did notice a couple of weeks later, they did bump that patchouli down towards the bottom. But I actually didn't even notice that until after I already had received this fragrance. So overall, even though patchouli is listed in the base notes, I actually get the patchouli from the initial blast all the way through the dry down. Now, I am not someone that really enjoys patchouli, especially when it is front and center in a fragrance. Now, there of course are a few exceptions. Kayali Vanilla Royale Sugar Patchouli, that ended up being a total love, but overall, when patchouli is the star player and I can smell it the entire time, usually I'm not a fan, but I do have to say the way the patchouli is blended in this fragrance, it is beautiful. Now, yes, you can still pick up on the patchouli, but it is not overpowering and it is certainly not a dirty patchouli. Now, I'm actually really happy that they decided to keep patchouli in this fragrance because I think it helps to keep this fragrance instead of just being any plain vanilla gourmand. I just think it helps to keep this fragrance from being too juvenile. Now, at first when I read that this fragrance had solar notes, I was thinking, okay, is this going to be the Black Opium flanker that is more suitable for spring and summer? I do have to say, I don't think so. There is still something dark about this fragrance, so I do think you could actually wear this all year round. In fact, I think it could be someone's signature scent, but I do think it is really going to shine in the colder months. So overall, I get a pretty sweet, balsamic, still slightly deep vanilla that really takes the show, but you can still pick up on that Black Opium DNA with the pear, the added cinnamon, and the overall floral notes, but basically, the vanilla is definitely the star player here. This fragrance just smells absolutely intoxicating to me. The way those 4 different types of vanillas are blended with all the other notes, I couldn't be happier. This is a beautiful fragrance. Now, is this fragrance anything groundbreaking or incredibly new? No, but as a vanilla lover, I'm certainly happy with my purchase. Now, that said, just because I am happy with this fragrance doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else will be. And specifically, I am speaking more to those of you that were probably expecting a more amped up original Black Opium. This is not a more amped up Black Opium by a long shot. Yes, that Black Opium DNA, it definitely is there in this fragrance. I don't think anyone would mistake that. But if you were expecting huge sillage, a very strong coffee note, I think you are going to be disappointed. So that leads me into my next point. We definitely do need to address the title of Le Parfum. Now, in my experience, Le Parfum flankers typically mean they are a more intense or a stronger version of whatever fragrance they are a flanker of. That is not the case with this one. So even though I am obsessed with the smell of this as a vanilla lover, I do have to say the sillage in this fragrance, it's pretty disappointing. Now, I can't say I was expecting the actual scent profile to be a more amped up Black Opium just because the way they had structured all of the notes with the added vanilla, but I was expecting it to have, a little something something and at least to be stronger. That is not the case. I wouldn't say this flanker is a skin scent by any means, but it is definitely far from being strong. So yeah, you are definitely going to have to overspray with this one. Now that said, I do find when bottles sit for quite some time, especially my vanilla fragrances, I don't know what it is about vanilla, but I do find they usually get stronger with time, but only time will tell. I am so excited to have another vanilla in my collection that I really think is going to be amazing for layering. Yes, Vanilla 28, that is an iconic vanilla, but if you're in the colder months and you're looking for something just a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, perhaps a little bit sexier to layer with, I think this is going to be a phenomenal layering piece. So yeah, overall, couldn't be happier with the actual scent of Le Parfum. It is a beautiful, almost vanilla gourmand, but that patchouli keeps it from going into that cloying direction, and it also keeps it from being too much of a gourmand. You know, there's something else there giving it substance. Overall, this scent is just beautiful. Now, if any of you have picked up the new Black Opium Le Parfum, definitely let us all know in the comments down below what your experience was. I'm just sharing with you my experience. Yours might be something completely different. I can't wait to continue using this fragrance all year long. And if you're looking for a new date night scent, I think this could be a great option. So yes, I am so excited to have another vanilla that is of course designer, much more easily accessible. Of course, nothing can replace our niche fragrances, but at the end of the day, this is a beautiful vanilla. Now last tip here, you guys know I'm always on the hunt for the best deals. If you are interested in picking up YSL Black Opium Le Parfum, I have two recommendations for you. So my first tip for you is to actually go directly on the YSL website. And when you are checking out, type in the code YSL25. Now that code is not affiliated, and I unfortunately cannot guarantee that that code is still active, but at the time of my purchase, I was able to save 25% off on a brand new release. That is almost unheard of with new releases, so definitely try it out. Now my second tip for you is to look on Mercari. Now I know you might be thinking this is pretty much a brand new release, it's probably not there yet. Well, I actually looked myself just out of curiosity. Yes, they do have Le Parfum from several different sellers and at a discount. But before you check out on Mercari, make sure you are checking out the seller. Definitely take a look at those reviews. In case any of you were curious, the atomizer, it's not bad, it's not great, it's pretty average, I would say. So I just wanted to show you the mist that comes out. It's kind of short bursts. All right, let me top off before I send you guys on your way. I do hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, guys.